Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hey Rangers, it's me, Jackie Kashian. It is either November or December of 2025. And what a mess it is out there in the real world. So I'm going to say this. Do not donate to the Dork Forest this month or next month. If you do donate, I will donate your money to the LA Food Bank, which is fine. But what I'd love you to do is to find your local food bank. And you can do that by going to feedingamerica.org, or you could Google the name of your town and the words food bank. I believe in all of you, and donate as much as you can to the local food bank this month, the next month, and ongoing if you can. But I mean, I appreciate all of your donations, but it's a real mess out there right now. So if you can help your neighbors, that'd be great. My website, of course, JackieKashian.com, still available to watch. I'm doing a new album this year. It'll come out actually in 26 and a new special. I'm touring. That tour information is at JackieKashian.com. My merch is there. It's got Dork Forest merch. It also has stand-up merch, is at JackieKashian.com. Dork Forest, where you can watch the videos and you can listen to the audio, especially, I guess, whatever you like. You can join my email list, where you'd scroll all the way to the bottom and then sign up. Harder to get on it than to get off, since there's an unsubscribe on every episode. And also a link to my other podcast that I have with Lori Kilmartin, where we just talk about stand-up comedy and celebrate it and bitch about it. But this is the Dork Forest. And so let's get into it. Let's dork out, you guys. Rangers, I'm with a professor, self-proclaimed unworldly. So here she is on a video audio podcast, The Dork Forest. Please welcome my friend Elizabeth Upton. Hello, Elizabeth Upton.
Hello.
Yay,
How are you?
You're here. I'm good. I have been trying to get you on this program for probably 20 years. Yes. Yeah. Because you, this is how, whenever you come up, I'm always like, oh, she teaches like medieval pop music at UCLA. And that isn't at all. I mean, it's sort of, but not really. Like, because you teach so many different classes. And we just had dinner the other night, and I found out I've never done an episode about a certain band that, of course, in my childhood was such a big damn deal. And I didn't know anything about them. But every stoner Magoo that I ever knew back in the day was hardcore into them. But you are a musical lady, and I am looking forward to getting that angle on the Grateful Dead.
Hi.
First of all, why are they named the Grateful Dead? What is happening?
They got
Any
that
idea?
name. Yes, they got that name from a dictionary. I can't be more specific because I don't know. It's a motif in folklore studies. In some stories, in a lot of stories, the hero sets out on an adventure and comes across a body that wasn't properly buried, and takes the time to bury the body because he's a nice person. And then he goes on his adventures, and at some point later, he's in trouble of some sort, and the spirit of the person whose body he buried is grateful and helps him out, and that's a motif in folklore.
Oh.
European folklore.
First of all, I love that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I know. Grateful Dead. How many people are in the band? Do we know? Over years.
Yeah.
It changes, but many, right?
Yes, many.
This is not a this is not the Beatles, right?
No, it was only those guys. They started with 5, then became 6, and then kept replacing keyboard players.
Oh, okay.
Were
the keyboard players dying, or were they just moving?
Yeah, it's kind of like Spinal Tap.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
It's a little Spinal Tap, a little The Who, if I remember correctly. Or was it the Rolling Stones?
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody.
No, the Who lost a drummer. And for the same reason, drug use in the 60s. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, they weren't really, They were
Although
just, I think it was.
their first keyboard player was much more traditional in his drug use. He was an alcoholic, and so
Oh, congratulations, young man! You killed yourself in an old-fashioned way. You just crawled into a bottle.
Exactly. Very.
What was
traditional.
his name? Do you remember his name?
Yes, Ron McKernan, and he went by the nickname Pigpen.
Pigpen?
And so by the time I found out about them, he was already dead. He died in 1973. So
That's early.
really early on.
When did they get together? The Grateful Dead.
Early 60s. Early 60s.
Early 60s.
Yes, and it's really kind of interesting. Wait.
You've waited. Yeah, there's trouble. Hooking back up the headphones. There
My
we go.
headphones unplugged themselves.
Yes.
Maybe it was an ungrateful spirit. They got now. This is the sort of thing I should know because, like, dates and stuff. The band is basically founded around the guitarist Jerry Garcia, who didn't like being thought of as like the leader, but he was. And interestingly, at least to me, is that he didn't start out in rock and roll. He started out interested in folk revival music.
Oh, weird. Like Woody Guthrie? Or?
Late 50s. Yeah, exactly. Late 50s,
Okay.
like 61, 62 in San Francisco folk scene. Now, when you think of folk musicians from this time, it's mostly, Bob Dylan, but
Right.
also a bunch of other people, Peter, Paul, and Mary, whatever. They were coming out of, in New York, out of European folk traditions. So English folk songs is what was inspiring them. And Garcia was, now you see the sun.
Here comes the sun, you
I
guys.
tried.
That's
there.
a Beatles song.
It is a Beatles song. So Garcia was interested in a different aspect of folk music, which was American folk music, which was specifically stuff coming from that was recorded in the 20s and 30s in the South in the U.S. and in Appalachia, of what was called jug bands. Now, a jug band has, instead of a bass player, you have one of those big ceramic jugs that like would have apple cider in it or whatever.
And they replace the bass player?
Yeah. And you blow across the top and it goes boom, 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 boom. You get a sound that makes that kind of a bass sound.
I was a huge fan of a jug band one couple of summers.
It's a great song. It's like a precursor to bluegrass. I love that sound.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that was replacing the bass. That's
banjo.
awesome.
He played banjo.
Okay.
And so that's what he first started doing. It was, there's folk revival going on late 50s, many places in the US. He was in San Francisco and around San Francisco. He grew up there. So he started with that. And then as he met and wanted to work with other musicians, they contributed other stylistic influences.
Okay.
So they ended up as this real mixture of a whole
of what? What is it?
Lots of American music. Lots of American music. It's weird, but I would classify the Grateful Dead as sort of Americana. American music is where they're
Really?
So Garcia liked folk music and jug band music.
Okay.
Ron McKernan, who died young, was a big blues fan. And again, this is coming from recordings that were made in the 20s and 30s.
Okay.
Bob Weir, who's the rhythm guitarist, liked rock and roll, flat out rock and roll, but also what was then called country and western. It hadn't split.
Okay.
One of the things I learned as a musicologist is that genre names are made up by journalists or record labels. There's no expert is sitting there saying, we should call this, we should call this the other thing. No, it's just like, how do we label the charts?
Right. They're just trying to define something. Yeah.
To define things. So Phil Lesh became their bass player, and he had a degree in classical composition and was an avant-garde musician in the Bay Area.
Really?
Who had never played the bass before, but they're like, you read music, you can figure out what to do. So he said, okay.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then they ended up with two drummers.
Wait, at the same time?
First one, then two.
Okay.
then one again, and then two for a long time.
Oh, they would have two drummers on stage.
Two drummers
with
at the
them.
same time. Yeah. Yeah. That's a very
That's nice.
unusual.
That's truly unusual.
And they would lock into each other. It was great. Bill Kreutzmann and Mickey Hart. Mickey Hart later got really interested in world music and drumming traditions in places that aren't America, and had a big collection of instruments from all over the world, and was bringing those kinds of influences into what he was doing. But lots of drum.
That's amazing.
Two of them. So they got together. They were first calling themselves the Warlocks, but then they found out that somebody else was already calling themselves the Warlocks.
Okay, fair enough.
So they had
IP, sure.
Yeah, so they picked another name, and there's conflicting reports as to who chose that name, who liked it, who didn't like it. But by the time anyone wanted to say they didn't like it, they were stuck with it because other people thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Right. Well, it's a great story. The origin of the name of the term, anyway. So this is the early '60s that sort of the
late
core
'50s
group
early '60s for the core group of what became the Grateful Dead.
Right. And then did they do albums right away, or did they tour?
No, they were playing in the Bay Area, and they
started in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a San Francisco band, and they got involved with a group of people that was a circle surrounding the author Ken Kesey, who was from Oregon.
LSD guy.
The LSD guy, yeah, and from Oregon. But he had been doing a graduate degree at Stanford, and got to know a bunch of weirdos. And he had also, now I know I should give my citation for this. This is all coming from a book by the journalist Tom Wolfe called The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, which is a riot to read. I've read a lot of things since then, but that's like the central story. So graduate students are always poor, and unless they're like millionaires, but that doesn't happen very often. So he didn't volunteer; he was paid for it. He took a paid position where scientists were testing psychiatric drugs, and one of those was LSD. Ken Kesey, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one of those was LSD, and so he found out about that, and I don't know how how did he get more of it? It wasn't illegal then. It wasn't illegal at all. But then he was based. I don't know the mechanism for this, but he and his friends were like, "This is the coolest thing ever. We need to bring this amazing experience to everybody." And he then
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
He had been working as a grad student on a novel that became One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which was published to great critical and financial success. So he could now have big parties.
Oh, right. And so did he hire the band?
Yeah. Yep. And
weird.
They wanted to have these parties where everybody would be taking LSD and having this grand experience, and the members of the Grateful Dead were down for that, and learned
free
how
drugs?
to play.
Sure.
Yeah, learned how to play while really stoned. The Dead have and always were famous for big long jams, and that was partly because they were playing for tripping people, and they were tripping themselves.
Right, and
in the
when
60s,
you're tripping,
while it was still legal.
Right, but you forget how long anything is when you're tripping.
Yeah.
Right? You don't know how long you're
just
doing
keep
anything.
doing things. Yeah.
You just keep,
As I've read.
Huh. And in your industry, you've only read about it.
Yes.
In my industry, I wouldn't be cool if I hadn't. And granted, nobody's ever suggested that Jackie Kashian, head ranger of the Dork Forest, is cool. I tried acid one time. I had a fourth of a hit, and my spine melted, and I did not wish to go again. I did mushrooms 3 times, and that
makes you
was
throw
fine
up,
as well.
Did it make you sick?
No,
I've
it
heard
didn't.
that
I never.
mushrooms make you sick.
Oh no,
Make
I
one
never
sick.
got.
Oh, that's
Oh no,
good.
they didn't. They didn't taste good, but they. They. It turns out I just powered through,
Probably
and then I got stoned.
Yeah, which is now legal again. So, yeah, I guess the statute of limitations must have run out. So, yeah, when I was in college, I tried LSD, and it
There
was the
you go.
coolest thing ever.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Astonishingly cool.
Is that how you got into the band?
No, I was already into the band. That's
Okay.
But and I thought those days are gone. I'll never know what this is. And then one of my friends at college was like, "My big brother has a source," and so we tried.
Like
it.
ayahuasca is some sort of hallucinogen, and that's
I'm not sure I know that. Yeah.
Oh, ayahuasca! It's very, very popular. You get to meet a dragon who'll tell you how it's all going to work out.
Oh, fun.
And
fun.
so sure, and it's guided. You hire essentially a shaman named Paul, and you go to a strip mall. It's
okay. This is nothing I've ever heard of. So yeah.
Right. Ayahuasca. It's a Central American peyote kind of thing.
Oh, cool.
But yeah. So so they are already in the early 60s stoned and
like
performing for people that
now.
are stoned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, mid 60s now.
They're tripping. They're performing for people that are tripping.
Yep.
They're from the Bay Area, and they are. Do they have any hits?
At this
Does
point,
anyone care?
They're playing. No, at this point, they're playing a ton of different music. What's something that's interesting to me is that they were learning music from records, not from being part of a scene or being part of a. They were listening to everything. They were they'd grown up with radio, but people also had like record collections. Yeah. And in this, that was like a thing for a lot of the 60s musicians. The Beatles got to know American rock and roll from records, not from They went to shows after they already knew what it was, you know.
Right.
But they learned it from records, which is really interesting. Because that's not how music has traveled before. But now there's records, and so people are learning music. So they played a whole bunch of different kinds of music.
Anecdotally, the grandfather clock, I just learned this yesterday, used to be called the long clock, and it was named after a song about somebody's grandfather dying the same minute the clock died. And they were like, they called it.
Grandfather's clock was too big for the shelf, so it stood 20 years in the hall. I don't remember the next part, but it's got verses like this.
And it's from 1876, so congratulations on pulling that out of your brain box. And it sold over 1 million copies of sheet music. Which has got to be insane in 1876.
Yep.
Which is why then it was called a grandfather's clock. And
ever since.
Much like the journalists, it was called a grandfather's clock by people who were trying to sell long clocks. It became an advertising term.
Like that hit song.
Yes.
Yeah, like that hit song.
Exactly. So, all right. So they don't have a hit. So back to the Grateful Dead.
No, they don't have it. At this point, they don't have hit music, and they don't have a record contract either. What changed was, well, first of all, the Beatles changed everything because the Beatles tapped into an audience that the record companies weren't aware of. This is the massive baby boomer audience, and they had only been thinking of them as like young. At this point, they were young teens. In the 50s, they're teenagers. Yeah, they don't, know. But teenagers in the 50s and 60s did have money because of
rich
unparalleled prosperity in the United States.
Unparalleled prosperity. Yes, that's an incredible way to put it.
The middle class, it used to be a thing. And so youth had money. And with how many records the Beatles were selling, record companies realized this is a license to just print money. And so, and the executives were not part of this group. And so they're like, let's sign up. Who knows what the kids will like? And so they signed up. They signed up a whole bunch of different artists. The main centers in the U.S. are in New York and Los Angeles for recording. And then there's a couple of studios in the South that were also recording, and Motown up in Michigan,
In Detroit, right?
in Detroit. But in LA, the music business was jazz music for movies, and they didn't know what. So the Grateful Dead got a record contract because they're like, oh, they have a following in San Francisco.
Oh, right.
Let's sign them up. And so the first album they made is all long jams, and they
just a mix of different styles, or
just a lot of they like play some songs, but then it goes on and whatever. And I don't think the record company knew what they were getting.
Right.
And this was very
how can
bizarre.
you play that on the radio?
Yeah, you can't. Right. It's long. It's very bizarre. They were the Dead have always been more successful as a live band than they were in recording.
Okay.
One thing that changed was in 1970. They released 2 albums that were unexpectedly popular. That are 2 albums that don't have long jams, but instead are actual discrete songs, many of them written by members of the Grateful Dead. So not all covers and not long jams and stuff. And these are called Working Man's Dead and American Beauty, and they fit right in with the folk rock ethos of the later 60s.
Okay. And were they 2 separate albums, or was it a double
separate
album?
Albums.
Okay.
No, those are 2 separate albums. And they're great. They're really good songs. Really well.
What did they have hits off them, or were they just sort of generally more popular?
There was on American Beauty, there's a song called Truckin' that was a radio hit.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, that was a radio hit.
Okay. That's cool. There's one.
Yeah.
Because they're so huge, and
they're so huge, and it was just mostly from touring. They did release live albums, which were great, but at the beginning they were just very strange, but they had their own audience.
Right. And so those 2 albums,
albums were like much more mainstream. And one thing musically that makes them so attractive is, so Jerry Garcia was hired to play pedal steel guitar on a song by Crosby, Stills and Nash called "Teach Your Children," which you probably heard. It was on the radio a lot.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. And I think that's when I first was aware this was just this amazing sound. I didn't know who it was, and I was like 10, but I remember thinking, this is really cool. What is this? The other thing that Crosby, Stills and Nash were doing were singing in harmony in a really, really nice way. And Garcia said that asked if he could be paid by having them teach the Grateful Dead how to sing in harmony. So American Beauty and Working Man's Dead are the result of that, and the vocal harmonies are gorgeous.
Okay,
and so it's suddenly this put together in a way that was more accessible than things you should be tripping to.
Right, yeah, and able to play on. Did they sing on when they were jamming?
Mm-hmm. Well, not while they were jamming. They would start with a song, right, and go through it, and then go off,
and then weed off
into space. Yeah. They played at part of the reason why they got signed is that they were like at ground zero for the hippie movement. They lived at near the intersection of Haight and Ashbury Street. They played free concerts in San Francisco. They got a huge following. And I'm sure that's when
69,
record executives,
the Summer of Love, or 67,
67, the Summer of Love. But yeah, that whole period, the Dead were big in San Francisco and stayed there. But I'm sure that's why record executives are like, oh, we've heard of these guys. Let's
right. Were they at Woodstock?
Yes, but they're not. They were not happy with how that went. They also played at the Monterey Pop Festival.
And that famous one.
Yeah, I don't know who said it, but the quote on this is that they always blow the big jobs. They always do badly. Meanwhile,
the stakes are too high, and they get in their
randomly
head.
Playing in Albany, New York, or something. They'll have a great. Here, hold on a second. they'll have a great um, concert or whatever. Yeah. So
Tell me
Yeah,
if
so they're-
my sound changes. I just moved
Okay.
the microphone. Okay.
yeah, I heard it move, but that's okay. Yeah. So they're doing covers, but not covers of all the same stuff. They're taking things from a wide range of sources. And then they start
Oh.
writing their own. Start writing their own songs, and they get very good at it.
And that's in the early 70s.
Yeah, late
Okay.
60s too. They started writing they always were playing a mix of folk, country and western, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, early rock and roll,
And then
as
world
well.
music.
and blues. Eventually, yeah, that's in the 80s. World music became a
was that
thing
in
in the
the
80s,
80s?
and
Right.
And, Mickey Hart
I was there in
part
the
of that.
80s
Yeah,
when I would ignore entire sections called world music.
yeah.
I was
It
busy
became a
still
thing.
listening to Billy Joel and Harry Chapin. Anyway,
As
but,
well, you should. Those are good.
It was the
love
80s.
this. I love the singer-songwriter era because I like
Yes.
songs. And,
Yeah.
um,
As well. Yeah, it's shocking no one. Elizabeth Upton.
It's-
big song liker. Anyway.
it's funny because so I ended up getting a PhD in musicology,
Musicology,
focusing on late medieval music. And how did I get there from here? I realized later that what I was interested in really was songs, secular songs. A lot of medieval and Renaissance music is church music just because they were paying for it.
Right.
And
Right.
so a lot of what survived is church music. But you start getting manuscript copies of songs that are love songs, and I was
Okay.
astonished to realize I could recognize which the hits were. You can tell, like, oh yeah, that one, that was a hit.
Oh, okay. Because
And
like it was mostly
They're
just Jesus and Mary and the
tons of that.
celebration of the church.
Yep.
And then occasionally you would everyone's going through all the written songs, and all of a sudden it's like, she had really pretty
Ooh, this
eyes.
is really cool.
Let's sing about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
no.
okay. Was there any do you think, now this is just me weeding off again, do you
Mhm.
think that most songs break up into love songs and religious songs? Like, because there's also political songs too,
Yeah,
right?
there's enough. Love songs is by far the most massive category, starting from recorded music with the troubadours. That's the earliest
Okay.
secular music in Europe we have. And what were they writing? Love songs. And occasionally they would write, as you said, political songs or satirical songs or clever
Okay.
things. And the kinds of genres that you find in
like
troubadour-
dirty sea shanties,
Mhm.
like those weird, like we're on a boat together, let's talk about our penises,
Basically.
Uh,
But
those are
but
love
yeah,
songs of a
as
sort.
long as music is recorded, it's the same kind of music over and over again.
yeah. That's
When I
fascinating.
when I was in college and grad school, it wasn't possible to study pop music as a musicologist. That
Oh,
just
really?
wasn't a thing yet. Yeah. And now it is. And my own department, the UCLA musicology department, is famous for taking popular music seriously from at a time when a lot of other schools weren't. Now everybody can study pop music, but we were pioneers before I got there, so I can't take credit for it.
Right. Well, do you think that I know that I was the first class that the University of Wisconsin had about Tolkien.
Oh, really?
And
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
and that was in 84.
Yeah,
So, and it
that
was
sounds about right.
85, maybe. But
Yeah.
whatever it was early days. And it was back when science fiction was still called not literature. And
Right.
now it is considered a literature of a sort. And
Yes.
right. As is, things get more credibility, I think, the longer they last.
Yes.
And
It
I
also
think-
depends on who's paying for it and who the audience is. So for a lot of European music and art, if you were writing things for the wealthy, for noblemen, for royalty, whatever, well, that's the good music. That's
right.
the good
It's going to
art.
be about
In part
the
because they
courage
have the
of the
money.
king. Yes.
Yeah, in part because they have the money to pay for it.
Right.
But
The Song
yeah,
of Roland was not something that was created organically. So
Yeah, no,
that was commissioned. I loved the Song of Roland, but it was definitely
you? Cool.
commissioned.
yeah.
Yeah, I read sort of a children's version of it.
Oh, that's cute.
In junior high, and it was epic. I cried and cried at the end of it. Oh, poor Roland. Okay,
I didn't set out to become a medievalist, but when I was in grad school in the mid and late '80s, there was a little mini boom in what was called at the time early music, still kind of is early music, which is like stuff up through Bach, everything up through Bach.
Okay.
And I just thought this is really great, and so I found
it's
myself going
unique.
back.
Yeah. It's okay. So, and I'm willing to come back. I'm willing to come back into the world of the.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to say that
please.
When I was growing up, we were alive in the '60s, but we were small children. And I listened to the radio. I listened to Top 40 radio at a real golden age of Top 40 radio.
What was the first song, like your first pop song that sort of changed? I read a thread the other day. It was sort of a tweet thread where they said, what song was the first what is a song that you remember just sort of smacking you between the eyes?
Well, I can tell you, I
changed your life. Yeah, kind of thing.
Yeah, I can tell you early on, I liked 2 cartoon TV shows that were structured around music, and one was Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Okay.
And the other was the Beatles had a cartoon show, or rather someone licensed them to have a cartoon show, but every episode would have 2 complete actual Beatles songs in it.
Right.
So I was like 5 and could hear the Beatles on television.
I think I loved the Monkees and the Partridge Family for that reason.
Yep. Oh, very much so. Yeah.
It was, I think I was drawn because the first like AM, what's the name of that? It was like KWOC. It was like WOC, because I think it was a W. Whatever
on the west, it splits in the middle of the country,
Mississippi?
and W is the east. I don't actually know. That makes sense.
And K is on the on the other.
Yeah.
Whatever it was Sammy Davis Jr. Candyman.
Oh yeah, okay.
That was one of them, and Rhinestone Cowboy.
Okay.
And those were the 2 pop songs that I remember from the actual radio.
Right.
From when I was like 4 and 5.
The first song I was crazy about that was on the actual radio, WABC 77 AM radio, was the Archies' Sugar Sugar. That was that I bought with like my allowance. What was called bubblegum pop is great stuff, and that really shaped my tastes in ways I wasn't aware of until I was actually an adult.
Right.
The Alvin and the Chipmunks, I now know, they were recording songs that were in the public domain, so they didn't have to pay copyright. So they were doing a whole bunch of earlier American songs, which was like a great education in good songwriting.
That is interesting. It's and a lot of the songs, because now I want to weed off again.
I loved Alvin.
I
made people call me Alvin when I was in preschool.
Oh, interesting. You wanted to be Alvin.
I wanted
Alvin
to be
and the Chipmunks. I wanted to be Snoopy.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So
cuddly with an edge.
Well, yes, very. And if anything describes me, I think that you just described me, cuddly with an edge. Hilarious. I feel it resonates though. Anyway, I'm
freaked out by seeing my own face. I'm trying not to do this. But.
Oh, right. I wish I could turn off your camera without turning off your camera.
That's okay. I'll deal.
I like that the sun went away though, because for a little while you did have a halo. It was very beautiful. And it was finally, is he behind me? That's the question. Okay. So, Christmas music. Let me ask you about this, because there was something, I follow an Instagram account that essentially ruins historical stuff for you because it was created in racism. And and I'm willing to look at it. I got I love history enough to be happy with newer Christmas songs. It doesn't have to, I can hear the truth. It's not going to kill me. Anyway, I can face facts. So it was about Jingle Bells. And the origin of this Jingle Bells song, it was something along the lines of, it was written by a black man. It was co-opted by a minstrel singer who then made it to make fun of black people. And then it took off and it was a huge deal, which makes me go, thank God I never liked Jingle Bells that much. And but the other weird thing was that the Carol of the Bells, these are the only two historical things I've recently found out. Yeah. Yes, is an old Ukrainian song. And somebody sang
Didn't have words at first. It was a tune. Yeah.
Oh, it was just musical.
Yeah.
Because they sang a cappella.
Yeah.
In some coffee shop that I saw. And it was about a little bird.
Huh.
That's all I got.
Yep.
So, what did you got? Any fun facts about a Christmas song that might be
Christmas songs? Well,
that might
a lot
ruin
of the songs
or be good.
a lot of the songs that we think of as classic American Christmas songs exist because of radio in the 40s, and so a bunch of singers and their labels wanted to put out a song for Christmas that would get a whole lot of play, and so that's when you get things like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and
Frosty
stuff like all of that stuff comes from
just a desire for
radio in the 40s, to
royalties,
to have holiday hits. In the film Love Actually, one of the many plots is an old rocker being asked to record a Christmas song, which is not a thing really anymore in the U.S., but apparently it was still in England. To make
That's hilarious.
Special Christmas songs.
What is that? The one with Hugh Grant about the little boy? With the little boy, yeah.
There's so many people in it. There's a ton of people in that film. The rocker is played by Bill Nye, who I will watch in anything.
The science guy?
No, Nighy. And he's British. Is that right? Nihgy. One of those. He's a British character actor, and he's amazing.
He makes everything better. Weirdly.
Anyway,
someone's having a coughing fit behind you. Is it some?
Yeah, that'd be.
Brian?
He says sorry. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay.
My husband,
I'm sorry,
Brian Upton, who's a game designer.
Game designer, friend of Andy Ashcraft's from back in the day, PlayStation.
How we know each other. Yep.
That's how we know each other. I'm talking with Elizabeth Upton. She knows about music. Let's get back to the Grateful Dead.
Okay.
Now, we're in 1973, and they have 2 hit albums.
Right.
Or popular albums at the very least. Yeah. So then they start touring?
Much more mainstream. No, they've been touring all along. Much more mainstream than other stuff they had done.
Well, because they nonstop toured.
Yeah. And they had financial
that was their
backing.
Jam.
Yeah.
They had
one thing that they were very famous for at this point was they worked out how to have great sound at outdoor arena concerts. And the answer was like millions of speakers, just like this whole wall of speakers. And they were able to do that because they had financial backing from a man named Owsley Stanley, who was probably responsible for most of the LSD that anyone was taking in the late 60s, early 70s.
So essentially they were backed by the LSD industry.
Exactly, yeah. And then he also was working as a sound technician.
LSD?
Right. Owlsley. Owls. Owlsley, like owl, the bird. Owlsley.
Yeah.
Stanley.
Owlsley. Stanley.
Who came from a politically prominent family, I think in Tennessee or something, but was this huge head in San Francisco.
And just decided to use his powers for good, for sound.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. For LSD and for sound. Yeah. So the Dead had this huge touring system that could play outdoors.
And they took their stuff with them?
With them, yes. Yeah.
Wait, do bands do that? I feel like if you go to Red Rock or if you go to outside, they have mics and equipment.
The Dead always brought their own stuff. I don't know. I don't know about what other bands were doing. I do know this was an issue for the Beatles. I teach a big GE class at UCLA on the Beatles, so I know Beatles facts. Right. But they were the first ones to play a concert at a stadium, and the sound was terrible. They had brought like stage equipment so they could hear what they were doing, but they didn't have. It wasn't remotely adequate. So they were broadcasting it over like what the announcer would be broadcasting on the
Oh wow! So they had
baseball stadium.
stage monitors,
Right?
but the stuff
Yeah.
going out.
Yeah, they
was
were
just
amazed that anyone. Yeah, if that anyone heard what they were doing at all. And
Oh.
after a while, when they were playing live, people would just be screaming so much they couldn't even hear from their own speakers. That's part of why they got
right.
frustrated with touring.
Oh, that makes sense. So Grateful
back to-
Dead revolutionized it.
Yeah,
Sort
they
of.
really did. In showing what could be possible if you had enough speakers. They can be very loud.
Did they travel the world?
Yes.
Or did they just do? Yeah.
One of their live albums is called Europe 72, which was recorded at various places in Europe in 1972.
So they went to Europe.
Yeah, they went there. Later in the 70s. Go on.
Because people followed them.
Yes, they did. My brother was one of them.
When did that start happening?
I don't know. I think that they just had a huge following right from the start.
Like people didn't have jobs. They didn't have lives. Their jobs and lives were to follow the Grateful Dead. This was like a huge thing.
Yeah, my brother would work for like 8 months of the year and then follow the Grateful Dead for 4.
Wow.
So,
and was that in the 70s or 80s? When was that?
That was mostly for him. It was mostly the 80s. He's younger than us.
Okay.
But
right.
Yeah, and then Jerry Garcia died and ruined his life. So
right. Your brother's life? Did he ruin the other 4 members of the band's life?
Yeah, no, it was really.
Was he the first
really
to
hard.
go?
After Ron McKernan died of alcoholism at 27 in 73. But then, Garcia dies in 1995 of complications from addiction and diabetes. And also just like
95.
Yeah, 1995.
40 years of touring. This is not a career cut tragically short.
No,
Elizabeth Upton. So the people that were following him, were they 45 years old?
Some were, and then younger people would join in. It was a whole like traveling circus, like this whole group of people who would just pick up and go to the next place. You mentioned Red Rocks; they played there every year, and it would be like a carnival. I never went there; my brother did, so I've seen photographs.
Right.
But
did you ever see them live?
Oh yeah.
Or was it all Oh, you did?
I did. There's 2 ways that you heard the Dead's music in the late 70s or in the 80s. And one was there was a whole rough organization of people who would tape the concerts. Garcia said when they're done with the music, they don't care who keeps it, just so long as no one was selling it. So there was this huge network of people who would make copies of cassette tapes of different concerts.
Bootlegs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Except the Grateful Dead approved of it.
They were sanctioned.
So long as you didn't. Yeah. So long as you didn't sell it. So long as you traded it.
As long as you were just giving it away, man. Because we're giving it away, man.
Yep. That's right.
And so you just traded cassettes with. I remember guys
with other people. These huge collections, right?
Right. Because I am an alcoholic, of course. So I didn't do a lot of drugs.
I didn't know.
But all of my friends, I drank like a crazy person. And but my friends all did drugs like crazy people. And they were all druggies and totally into Grateful Dead and stoner bands like that. And they would occasionally get these tapes. And they're like, I got a new bootleg. Yeah. And then they would just put it on. And nothing else could happen at the party. You were just like,
you just had to sit there and
listen
commune with the spirit of the music, right?
And they would talk about where they were recorded.
Yeah.
Because that's how they were listed or something?
On the label, it would be like they'd have the date and where it was recorded. So you could tell which generation.
Right, but what generation cassette tape you got?
Cassette tapes, I don't know. By the time it got
like
to me,
the 4th generation, it just had a slight buzz to it.
Right.
And
one amazing thing that started in the 90s was the Dead themselves had tapes made from the soundboard. And so they started with the CD era. They started mastering these pristine live tapes. And so there's like 1 million now commercially available Grateful Dead performances, which if you don't want to deal with 4th generation cassette tape copies, these are gorgeous, gorgeous sound.
And I hope they charge for those just because there is production costs and stuff like that.
They have a label with that.
A label and a catalog and everything.
I stopped being able to keep up with all of that because I got a job, and so I had to focus on my own teaching and scholarship rather than, keeping up with the good old
How many
Dead.
are there do you still listen to the Grateful Dead sometimes? Like, is it good background music to cleaning or writing? Or?
I have to tell you that one big disadvantage about being a professional musicologist is suddenly there is no background music. It's all foreground music. So I'm either listening to something on purpose or it's silent. Brian, when we first met, he was like, "You never play any music." I'm like, occupational hazard.
Right. Exactly.
I can't play music, but
but you're going to listen to it.
Yeah.
You're going to listen for it. Yeah. What do you hear? Yeah.
For a while, the place that I heard music the most was in the car, either on the radio or back when cars had CD players in them. I could take CDs and play them in a car. And
both of our cars still have CD players.
Oh, you lucky thing.
Yeah, we got a 2013 and a 2017. They both have. We don't play any CDs in them, sadly. But because you could just plug your phone in.
There's a lot of Grateful Dead CDs. You can get those.
Right. Andy's got. He took them out of the cases and put them in those books. In the cases that were very nicely protected. And then you could, it's too bad because I did an episode of the Dork Forest once about liner notes.
Oh,
it was Kimberly Clark. I think it was Kimberly Clark. Did and she just how much she missed liner notes and just kind of the shit talking that would happen sometimes on liner notes. Yeah. Where you would just like bitch about something that had happened in the previous 3 years of you trying to make this album. And you're like, and you know who bothered me? Larry. And you're like, it just happened. And then she would look up Larry. Right. And then it would be weird gossip about a specific band or a specific group. So when CDs were invented, I was really into early music. And when they went from vinyl to the little CDs, they'd have huge liner notes of they would have the words in Latin and then translated into 3 or 4 European languages, one of which you hoped was English, and scholarly articles on all of this, all the early music. It was great, and now they're all in like CDs, so it's all really tiny. It's tiny, and there might be a book,
and they're really
most
thick,
often, and then it just went to one sheet.
With streaming, there's nothing. I didn't tell you this I don't think I told you this when you were over for dinner, but since the summer, I've been listening to K-pop and the
Saja Boys and K-pop Demon Hunters. Yeah, but we almost did an episode about the famous band. There's
BTS, probably
BTS. That's the biggest one.
They're amazing. I like them now.
They obviously based the Saja Boys on them.
Absolutely. Because there's like 1-to-1 relations.
I've done a couple of different episodes of the Dork Forest. One about Korean comedies and dramas.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
That was amazing. And then one about K-pop where I think I came in too much. I didn't know anything about it. And I didn't have sort of the right questions. The thing about the Dork Forest is I do no research and we tend to weed off. Right. And then it helps if I have a little bit of knowledge. Right. And the things that I know about like the Grateful Dead is that they made bootlegs and that people gave up a decade or so of their lives.
Because these concerts were amazing.
Right. And some of them just worked and they sold they made hot dogs and sold them on the side. And that was their income.
Friendship bracelets, things with beads, tie-dye, tons of tie-dye.
Right.
Shirts and stuff.
Yeah, there was some amazing tie-dye. And I think that they after they stopped touring, that was in 95, I guess, right?
For a little bit. They then, the remaining members reformed to keep going, to keep playing things. And they also had, by this time, they all had done solo albums. They'd all,
oh, cool.
The rest of the members didn't quit at all. They
did any of them?
Some of them are still performing.
Okay. Did any of them make the band Fish?
No, that was they were Deadheads. They were fans of the Grateful Dead, and
they're just like two generations later, and they're like,
"Yeah, we want to do this too." I never got into them, but I know that they picked up a lot of that desire on the part of listeners, right? After Jerry was
jam
gone.
Like that, and to
jam like
that,
Yep,
and to sort of be to sort of fill that space,
to be in the moment,
right? And I remember there were some people. When they first came out, they were like, man, they're not the real thing. And I'm like, no, the real thing is dead. What you have to do is you have to, if you like that genre, you have to then, like if you loved Fountains of Wayne, and then that guy died, you have to go find another band.
Something that's going to be like what you like. Yeah.
That is a little bit, that sort of is in that same vein. And so.
The original musicians with the Grateful Dead, Ron McKern and Pigpen died early. Garcia died in 95, and their bass player Phil Lesh died just last year, 2024.
Wow, he must have been 2024.
I looked them up.
Yes. When did they?
He was born in 1940, so he's the same age as Ringo Starr and John Lennon, who was also his life was tragically cut short.
I know about that because I was there for that, and it was a big deal.
So he was, in 2024? So 60, 70, 84. 84.
He would have been 84. And was he still playing till he died?
I think so. I mean, clearly probably not traveling as much as they had done. I mean, the Stones go on tour, and Mick Jagger's like $1 million.
Yeah. Right. He had to be born in 1940. It was.
He's early 40s. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah. Whenever I think about these old guys, and I'm just like, especially the British musicians, I'm like, what do you remember about the Blitz? The London
they were babies.
Blitz. You remember?
They were babies.
Do you remember the rationing? Anything? Give me something.
Rationing went into the 50s. So so they probably knew that, but they did not know the war itself because they were babies.
Right. They were just little
pretty much all born. Yeah, the Beatles were all born during the war. During World War II.
Yeah, my dad was born in 1938. So he has some small remembrance of saving tinfoil or some damn thing. I have no idea.
Yep.
So that is okay. So what I want you to know is you got about 8 minutes here. What do you tell me things, favorite things, least favorite things. What do you want to tell me about the Grateful Dead that I have not asked?
I haven't touched on already. You have to budget a lot of time because their music is expansive. They're you can listen to the songs on Working Man's Dead or American Beauty, and they're shorter, like 4 minutes or something. But if you really want to get the experience, you have to listen to a live recording. They did release some as commercial albums, and now they're releasing these soundboard versions.
Right.
And, block out like 3 hours and let it take you. So one thing that when you were over for dinner, one thing that you were struck by, I want to say this, is how the different musicians interacted with each other, which is why Garcia didn't like to be called the leader, because they all were not only were they contributing this kind of style that they were interested in, but they were able to improvise as a group, like jazz musicians do, and that each one could go off on different tangents. And that was what was fun about seeing them. So they'd play a song and they'd start with the song, and then it would just go out into outer space. And one of them would do something, and then another one would listen to that and pick up on it. And meanwhile, someone else was doing something else. And so just following the different lines, the different sounds that different musicians were making in the group. And not knowing how, and then they would all come back together, and which seemed like magic, So
That
they
does
would,
seem like
yeah, it was really exciting, really, really exciting.
There must be some sort of
hear that.
gesture. It's like, because I was just telling a woman, emailed me because on my other podcast, the Jackie and Laurie show, I mentioned that I'm not a huge fan of jazz, but I like structured jazz. Like I like marching band music. I love horns. I love jazz songs. I love singers.
Yeah.
It's just when they weed off and go into the longest drum solo in the world, or the longest guitar solo in the world, or the longest any solo in the world, that I weed off and go, what's the next song?
Right.
And it might be because I'm just not sophisticated enough musically to sort of understand what they're doing. And it also might be because I have the attention span of a flea. It's certainly not on them. They're having the time of their lives. Yeah. And I think because I also don't like psychedelics that much.
Yeah.
And psychedelics lend itself to a long, drawn out experience about the nature of trees. And I too have had the discussion of why do bricks in a building look like they're each a little drawer with a soul inside? Anyway, or whatever. So
I can tell you one little thing about LSD, because I have researched it. I teach the Beatles class. I'm responsible for this information. How it seems to work, and the reason we know this is because only recently LSD was licensed to be that people can use it in experiments again. For a while, you could not deal with it at all. It was just absolutely forbidden. But researchers were saying, yes, please let us do this. And it works as with anything, works in the brain. It works on neurotransmitters. And what it does is it messes with your perception. So in normal life, we think our eyes are like windows and we're looking out at the world and there's the world. Whereas our brain is already processing a hell of a lot of stuff about what we think is normal. And so LSD interferes with the processing. And so it changes your experience of time. It changes how you perceive surfaces. So instead of like just a blank wall or whatever, the surface would seem to be undulating or and they would say, people would say, oh, it's like things were melting, but not melting like Salvador Dali paintings, melting like the surfaces are just not holding still. But
it was amazing that I could stand.
But it's a brain of a hit
of something that it looked like a tiny clown, and then someone had cut it into 4, and then I was given a fourth of it, and then it went away, and I was no longer melting, and I thought to myself, "Where's the rest of it?" Because I don't do anything in moderation, including moderation. So it turns out everybody else had eaten them. And so there wasn't any more. And that, of course, was for the best. So I did do an episode of the Dork Forest about ayahuasca. My friend Mike Kaplan was doing it every 6 weeks for about a year, which felt like a lot. And I think he's not doing it quite so much now, because I think you can only meet the dragon so many times. Yeah. And then the dragon's like, that's why don't you get a job?
Most people who were taking LSD decided. They're like, yes, it opens doors, but at some point you have to walk through and then live the rest of your life.
Right. Try not to.
I need to say to people to your audience, to people who are listening, I would not trust anything that's labeled as LSD right now. You don't know where it's from. You don't know what it's made of.
Because it's not legal. It's not legal consumption. It's not like FDA pot.
No.
Because pot is now regulated.
It's now regulated.
And it has to be, yes,
which is great. But they used to get the precursor chemical from chemistry firms in Switzerland, and then process it here in the U.S. And so that was pristine. But now I wouldn't trust it. But that they're now doing experiments. I hope that at some point in our lives, this will again be available in safe ways. I've read research that said that it knocks out anxiety. That people in the experimental group had like one experience and then anxiety is gone.
Well,
That's promising. That's promising.
that is promising. It's Maria Bamford's doing a new joke about how she's like, if people have drug resistant depression,
Mhm.
you rascal, you. She's like, and her dad was reading some book called The Mindful Way Through Depression. And she
Mm.
was like, don't do that. If you can't get a hold of ketamine or just get a large sledgehammer, stick your head in a wood vise, tighten it, loosen it. What haven't you done to your brain? Right?
Yeah.
Just like, eat an entire Chicago style pan pizza. That'll take you out of the game for 4 hours. Just don't kill yourself. Do something. Don't beat yourself up and think that you should be meditating yourself better. Just do whatever you got to do to keep going.
Cross fingers that LSD will continue to show that it is an amazing chemical and has actual therapeutic uses.
Well, as doesn't everything's a tool.
As everything,
Everything's a tool. It can be used for good or evil, including AI. But I like the idea that we touched a little bit on the Grateful Dead.
Yeah,
this was great. Thank you so much.
I can send you a ton of links if you want to listen. I was like, I can play you things, and you're like, no, but I can send them to you privately.
You can only you can send me a playlist of 8 songs. That's how.
Okay,
that's the rule. And with the Grateful Dead, every song is 11 minutes.
Yeah,
I'm going to go 4. I'm going to go 4.
Right.
All
okay,
right, send me 4 links, and I will listen to them, and I will give it a shot. But this has been fascinating. Thank you, Elizabeth Upton, for finally being on the show.
You're very welcome.
You're welcome to come back at least 12 more times with the other 12 things that you love, because
I know
definitely
about all kinds of random stuff.
Thank you so much. And Rangers, you know the rules. Take care of each other out there.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat, my hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?